Welcome to Ghostly, the podcast that puts the paranormal on trial.
Every 2 weeks, I unearth a chilling ghost story, tracking down the legends, the eyewitness accounts, and the history behind a haunting.
And I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, get to tag along to poke holes in her theories. My job is to find the logical explanation, the creaky floorboards behind the ghostly footsteps.
In the end, it's not up to us. It's up to you, our listener, to weigh the evidence.
Yeah, you get to decide. Is it a genuine haunting?
Or is it all senseless talk?
But before we summon the spirits today, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening, because it's the best way to make sure that you never miss a new spooky tale.
As always, we're your hosts.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca. Now let's turn down the lights and see what's waiting for us in the shadows.
Ooh.
Does what happened at the 6 Mile Wayfarer House still haunt this earth?
Interesting.
Different kind of question.
Yeah, it is, definitely. I would like to first state the obvious. I have a bit of a cold right now, so I might sound a little different than usual.
You're getting over a cold.
I am mostly over it. It's still affecting my voice. You know, I'm still a little, and that is the one thing that I have is this voice. It's
it's the money
it's
maker.
frustrating. Yeah, it's the money maker.
If only.
What money?
Yeah, right.
Anyways, so today we are going to be talking. I know that the episode is titled The 6 Mile Wayfarer, and you guys have no idea what's going on with that, but I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about what some people consider to be the first female serial killer in history.
Yes.
You
Or
know,
at least in the United States.
and at least recorded history,
Right.
because females have been known to kill people forever now. So,
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But so that is essentially what we're talking about. It's got a very, very interesting history. And also, too, if you consider her a serial killer, which we're going to talk about, then that would make her the first United States serial killer instead of H.H. Holmes, too. So that is one thing that I don't know if I believe, but we're going to dive into that.
Yeah,
though.
there's so much. And I will say, along the old road
Yeah.
leading into Charleston, South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
once stood the 6 Mile Wayfarer House, an inn where travelers were meant to find rest for the night. But according to legend, what happened at that house reverberates to this day in the form of restless spirits.
Those restless spirits.
Yes.
It's better to have rested spirits.
No. That's not it's much more fun to have restless.
No, maybe you should let them take naps, though, or something like that. That's just what I'm thinking, that your spirits, they're dead. They should be able to take a nice little nap, So, Rebecca, do you have a ghost story for us?
Yes.
All right, let's
All
hear
right.
it.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
I was walking down one of the narrow corridors inside Charleston's old city jail when our guide stopped and pointed to a row of cells. He told us this was the area where the first female serial killer had supposedly been held before her execution in 1820. A few minutes later, while everyone else moved into the next room, I lingered behind to take a photo down the hallway. The place was quiet, the kind of quiet where even your footsteps feel a little too loud. That's when I noticed something at the far end of the corridor. A woman. She was standing near one of the cell doors, dressed in something pale, almost white. Her figure faint in the dim light. For a moment, I thought she must be another tour guide or someone else from our group who got ahead of us. But when I stepped forward to get a better look, the hallway was empty. Later, when I caught up with the group, I asked the guide if there were any staff members dressed in white walking the halls. He looked at me for a second and said, "No, but that's exactly how people describe The first female serial killer. I'm not going to reveal the name. I'm going to let you you do
Okay.
that.
All right. So how much of that is based on any reality?
That is based on a story of a person who took a photo that I couldn't find the actual photo, but there's a story about a person taking a photo.
Okay.
And we're going
All
to talk
right.
about that one.
So let's just dive into the history then. Let's get into this.
Let's figure out who this person is. Pat Facts.
Pat's Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pat's Facts. He presents it all to you. Pat's Facts. Facts.
So in the early 1800s, traveling into Charleston was a gamble. The roads were dark, and highwaymen, I'm sure people have heard that term before, which were like frontier robbers back in the day, right? They were everywhere.
Yeah.
But the most dangerous place wasn't the road. It was the 6 Mile Wayfarer House, located exactly 6 miles north of the city. Interesting name and correlation.
6 Mile. I got it.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone's ever watched Anne of Green Gables or read Anne of Green Gables, Anne at one point reads the poem The Highwayman.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've heard that, then you've heard about the highwaymen.
Yeah, I mean, they were a real thing. And, some people would say that there's still highwaymen out there that just want your money and, are willing to do what they need to do to get it. So when Rebecca first brought up this idea of this episode, because Rebecca's been picking the episodes.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Pat refuses. So he makes me do it. And then.
Well, because I get in trouble if I pick the episodes. Then people will say that
I get in trouble when I pick the episode.
I'm picking the most skeptical episodes. So I want you to pick them so that you can give me the good stuff.
Too. All right.
Anyways. But I thought she was talking about 8 Miles, and I thought we were talking about Eminem in this episode. And I'm like, he's not dead. What?
Yeah, no.
Well, but you know what? Try not to lose yourself, okay?
Okay.
So the house was run by John and Lavinia Fisher. They were young, they were attractive, and by all accounts, incredibly charming. So that's the way to go, right? If you're going to get killed by young, attractive, and charming people.
There it is.
Lavinia, in particular, was the face of the business. She was so well liked that when people first started disappearing, the local sheriff didn't even want to investigate her. He figured the guest had just gotten lost in the swamp. By February 1819, the Fishers' hospitality had turned into a full-blown murder industry. Murder. Did you say murder?
Murder?
While the details are debated by historians today, the legend says that Lavinia would invite long travelers in for dinner and serve them some kind of tea laced with oleander? Oleander, yeah. A poisonous plant.
Ooh, so they were traveling all by themselves.
Yeah.
And she was like, come to dinner.
And I will serve you some nice tea.
Tea.
Once the guest was drowsy and starting to doze off a little bit, John would finish them off. The most famous and terrifying theory
this is my favorite.
Involves this trapdoor mechanism that they had under the bed that would drop a sleeping guest into the cellar where they would either be stabbed or just left to die.
Yeah.
I would hope to be stabbed versus just left to die because that's a horrible death,
Yes. Now, did you... okay, I see you're going to talk about John Peoples later.
Yeah. I will definitely be talking about him.
Okay.
So I wanted to know how many people supposedly that they killed.
Okay.
All right. So only 2 bodies were officially found on the property during the initial raid. But rumors at the time and legends today suggest that the number of victims could have been closer to 100.
Whoa.
So we're talking like an H.H. Holmes kind of thing, too, where I'm sure the number is not 100, and I'm sure it's probably not 2. So.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, because like some people really did just like go off in the world and like, it's not like there were amazing records back then.
Yep.
But some of them may have actually been killed.
Now, if it's 2 and Lavinia is not the one that's actually killing them, I don't know if these are actually serial killers then, right? Because serial killer to me isn't killing people for money, though, necessarily even. So
I mean, I would say if you're killing a lot of people, then you could potentially be a serial killer regardless of your motive. But
think
it
of-
isn't typically what we think
Yeah,
of.
think of all the serial killers that you can think of. Are any of them notated in just stealing their money?
Right.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so. So that would take them out of contention for this then.
Mhm.
That's my idea of it. But for money, okay, let's talk about that. The Fishers weren't just petty thieves. They were after the high stakes travelers like merchants and cattle drivers. So it's estimated that they stole thousands of dollars over their run. One victim, John Peoples, that Rebecca was talking about, reported that they tried to rob him of about $40, which doesn't seem like much nowadays, right? But in 1819, $40 was roughly $1,000 in today's money.
Wow.
Why he would walk around with $1,000, that's... Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't easy to like have a bank that you could then
Yeah.
withdraw money. If you were
Yeah.
traveling, I mean, you might have to take a lot of money with you to travel.
True. And if we do the math based upon, the rumors, then that would mean that they were probably, and if we estimated in today's numbers, they probably stole about $50,000 to $100,000
Wow.
in total. So the Fishers were finally caught after two survivors, David Ross and John Peoples, escaped their clutches and went to the authorities. I guess Peoples didn't drink the tea very well.
Well, I was going to say, can I share the story of Peoples?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things where like he has this like he gave the like this is why people think what they think.
Okay.
Because of the story that he told. So basically, he says that, he went to stop at the inn and I'm just going to tell this from memory because I don't have it pulled up, but he stopped at the inn and he ate the dinner and he was given the tea, right? But he didn't drink a lot of it. They thought that he did. And when he got up to his room, for whatever reason, he didn't fall asleep on the bed. He fell asleep on a chair.
Oh, good choice.
And that all of a sudden he woke up because the trap door opened and all of a sudden the bed was gone.
Wow.
And when he looked down, he said he saw a bunch of skulls down there on the floor or down below. And then at that moment, he went to leave the room because he's like, holy crap, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
When he opened the door, the John Fisher was there about to come in and like make sure that it had happened. And they were both shocked to see each other. So he actually had a moment and he was able to slam the door shut and then he left out the window.
Wow.
That is people's story.
And he's sticking with it.
And he stuck with it.
Yeah. So my thought with this too is that, man, that would suck if every time they wanted to kill somebody, they'd have to bring the bed back upstairs.
This is probably my biggest question about this particular theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the case, because I'm like, really, you dropped the whole bed?
Why wouldn't they make it where they, where they don't have to move as much?
Well, and also like, I'm sure that the bed couldn't be that high quality because otherwise it would be hard to move.
Yeah.
And then it would like break.
Well, beds don't break like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe rip open or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know how far it went down. But anyways, it was an interesting, maybe the bed came in half. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in May of 1819, a mob of angry citizens and the sheriff raided the house. So this was, what is it called? Well, it's just an angry mob. So,
vigilantes, but not really.
Vigilante justice.
Yeah.
I always think of like Frankenstein when I think of this.
Yeah.
When they went after Frankenstein's monster, that's what they did. Okay, anyways. So they found piles of stolen clothes, watches, and hidden passages throughout this whole place.
That's the creepy part, the passages.
Oh, I want a place that has all these little passages and stuff like that. The Fishers were locked in the old city jail for nearly a year. Interestingly, though, they weren't actually convicted of murder. The evidence was too messy surrounding that. So instead, they were sentenced to death for highway robbery, which back then was a capital offense.
That's crazy, like to think that, like, that kind of big robbery or, highway robbery or whatever was a capital offense. Like
Yeah.
you could be killed for it. But Wild West rules, I guess. I mean, even though this wasn't the West, but
Well, also too, they believed that the highways were not like part of the cities. So it was like a federal thing too then.
yeah, right.
Which was interesting too, because nowadays, if you commit a crime on a highway, it's not a federal offense necessarily. So
yeah, it depends. Now, I did also read that they did try to escape the prison, but I guess like it was one of those where they had bed sheets or whatever it was going outside the window, and John made it down, but Lavinia, whatever the rope was, I think it was rope, broke, and so she was like dangling and had to climb her way back inside. And John like refused to leave the area without her, so he was eventually captured and brought back.
Well, interesting. So the end of the Fishers is the stuff of horror movies, right? John was very remorseful. He spent his final days praying with a minister. But Lavinia, that's a different story there. She refused to walk to the gallows and had to be dragged there. Legend says that she wore her wedding dress, hoping that a legal loophole that you couldn't be hung if you were a wife.
There you go. I mean, only your husband can kill you.
I guess. I don't know. Or maybe just that, she's married, she could have kids. I don't know what it is, but you couldn't kill a wife. So she was hoping that would save her. But when she realized she was going to die, she didn't pray. And according to the Charleston Courier, which is, one of my favorite newspapers, and the local reports, too, of the day, she looked out at the massive crowd of thousands and screamed her famous last words.
If you have a message you want to send to hell, give it to me. I'll carry it.
Yeah.
And sorry for swearing.
Oh, hell? H-E double hockey sticks?
Double hockey sticks, sorry.
So also there's reports that she said, if you have a message you want to send to the devil.
Yes, that is another one.
So anyways, then she reportedly jumped off the scaffold before the executioner could even pull the lever. So they put the noose around her neck. She jumped off.
There you go.
Killing herself then.
Well, and I guess what happened is how they got away. Their loophole for killing a wife was that they killed John first. They hung him
so she was
first,
no longer
so she
a
was
wife.
a widow.
Well, that seems weird that's the loophole that they used.
Yep.
So historians today, like Bruce Orr, suggest that the Fishers might have just been part of a rough gang of robbers rather than serial killers in the modern sense. However, the image of Lavinia Fisher as America's first female serial killer and first serial killer, if you think of it, we don't even have to just say female, has stuck for over 200 years. And of course, there's not many female serial killers.
No.
It's mostly men that become serial killers for some reason. But anyways, the 6 Mile Wayfarer House is long gone. It's no longer there. It's replaced by the industrial sprawl of North Charleston. But if you visit the old city jail today, people still swear that they see a woman in a tattered white dress wandering the halls, still looking for her next guest.
Yes.
So,
nice.
Do you have anything to add?
Sorry, I know I've been adding stuff as we go. I just find this such an interesting story. I do think, like we're going to be talking about ghost stuff, but do you want to talk for a second, like what you think as far as like, do we think they actually killed people or were they just robbers?
Did they kill people? Yes. Were they serial killers though? By definition, I would say no, because of that they were killing for money, first of all, which is not typical for serial killers. There is a very specific definition of a serial killer and they just don't match it. That's all to me. But I do think that they were part of, other highwaymen that were robbers together.
There was like a gang that they did work with.
Yeah.
But I also think they probably, stole from their guests. Like, why else did they have an inn, and like do all that? But I'm with you. Like, I do think that they ended up killing people. I don't know that it was like, I'm pretty sure I read that there is no evidence. And again, that doesn't mean there wasn't, but we don't have evidence that there actually was a trapdoor.
Yeah.
And part of that is because, like you said, it's not even just the industrialization, but actually shortly after they were caught the whole house burned down. So,
which is common for back in those days too. Like,
sure.
like the murder castle of H.H. Holmes was burnt down. Some people say that the citizens rose up and burnt it down.
I think that's, because it was like after they got caught, So, I mean, I don't know that we have a ton of evidence to say for sure that they killed like 100 people or anything like that, but we don't know that they didn't kill people.
Yeah,
like, I think people are
exactly.
very quick to say, nope, they were just convicted of robbery and that's it. If you're robbing people, sometimes it gets violent.
Yeah.
But I also think you're right as far
Well,
as
I don't think they would let people go. So, because then they would report that they were robbed.
Sure. Well, I mean, then that to me starts to get a little more serial killery if it's more just like, oh, this is a robbery gone wrong, like, and I have to kill you, like, yeah.
But Lavinia was not the one that actually would stab the people, though. So, like,
that's also a question.
Who is the murderer then? Is it the one that poisoned them with the tea that made them drowsy, or is it the one that stabs them to death?
I feel like it's both. I mean, you're an accessory to murder if you're not the murderer, but it's not like quite the same. Because a lot of female serial killers they do tend to be more
accessories.
They tend to be like with poison, or they're nurses that are like, taking care of people, but they like.
But again, there's a very specific definition, which I don't remember exactly what it is. But there's I was a criminal justice major, so I don't remember exactly what the definition of serial killer is. But I know that doesn't match.
Well, I mean, there is a Black Widow, that kills people for money or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Anyways, whatever. But I think it seems like though we're both landing in the lane of like, they probably killed people. Were they serial killers that killed like 50 to 100 people? That I don't know.
Yeah.
That we know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to get to the debate. So stay tuned for our sponsors. All right, Rebecca, are you ready for the debate?
Yes.
So during our long break, which was actually 10 days, no, I'm just kidding. It was only like a couple of seconds. Rebecca looked up what a serial killer is. So you have a definition.
I do. And I like this because it talks about it's the differential between a serial killer versus a mass murderer.
Yes.
Right? So a serial killer is defined as a person who murders 3 or more persons over more than a month and including a significant period of time between the murders. Here's the difference. Psychological gratification is usually the motive for serial killing.
Yeah.
And many murders involve sexual contact with the victim. So, like, it's not that they're killing for, like, I want to take your money. It's they're killing because of the act of killing.
Yeah.
They like that part.
And to differentiate them from like shooters at like a school or something like that, or like that guy in Vegas that shot all those people.
Because that was one time.
So that's a mass murderer, not a serial killer. Okay, so now we have a definition to go by.
Oh, geez, everybody.
Good thing we're not a true crime podcast.
I was just going to say, we went dark here. Sorry, everybody.
We did, yeah. And we say it with a smile on our face, too. So, we know what it is now. All right. So,
all right. Let's get to the ghosts.
Yeah, let's get to
That's what we're here
let's get
for.
to the stuff we know about.
There you go. All right. So the most commonly reported ghost connected to the Fisher story is Lavinia Fisher herself. Visitors and paranormal investigators claim to see a full-bodied apparition of a woman dressed in white walking through the halls of Charleston's old city jail. Some say she appears next to the cell where she was allegedly held before her execution in 1820. Others report seeing her move along the corridors or standing near barred windows as if looking out towards the street. Early reports claimed that prisoners in the jail saw the apparition shortly after her execution. That's the thing that surprised me, is that there's reports that even like soon after she was seen. And again, because she did wear that wedding dress to her execution. Over the years, visitors have continued to report the same figure, a woman in white, sometimes described as wearing a dress similar to the one she wore at her hanging.
Okay.
All right.
So the first part of it, though, was really interesting, and it is something that I always note, but then you corrected it afterwards, that it's the paranormal investigators or visitors that are the ones that see her. It wasn't like it's the jail guards or anything like that. It was them that see. So that's something that, like, isn't that weird that it's not like other prisoners see her, but then it's kind of corrected later. I don't know though, because it doesn't specifically say who those earlier reports come from. So, prisoners in the jail.
Prisoners in the jail, yeah.
So that gives it a little bit more credibility to me in that regard. But I am just thinking that they have. So prisoners have a lot of time on their hands, right? So I think they were just making up stories for this particular thing. I mean, if I was in jail, I'd be making up all kinds of stories too. If I have nothing to live for at that moment, make up some stories.
The conditions were not great.
No.
In 1820 at the
exactly.
the city jail.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
And you got to think about it too. This is before the Civil War. This is after the Revolutionary War, and not too far. This is 30 something years after the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
So timing is very interesting with this regard, and this is before the big spiritualist movement too. So this is going to earn a 1 for me because of that, the prisoners, and because the timing too.
Yes.
That this is pre the. Like, if it really happened that way, which I have not looked into the early reports, by the way, just to go over this again, I usually do not look at Rebecca's evidence prior to being on air because I like to just hear it right at that spot. I think that that's doing the most for the podcast. Instead of me actually figuring out stuff, I want to figure it out on the spot. So my answers might not always be, the most logical because I'm just coming up with it on the spot. But this particular one, I like that early reports claim that they saw her then. This is before the spiritualist movement. So, yeah, that's interesting. But I'm still going to give it a 1 because I don't believe that they actually did. I believe prisoners just were bored and wanted something to do. And, that probably got some attention from people then. So,
okay. I'm going to give it an 8. Again, we've got reports from, over 150 years or whatever it is of people.
I hate that it's a woman in white, though.
Almost, 200 years.
Yeah. Oh, this is, definitely
We're
200
old.
years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of long years here. Lavinia made because here's the thing, like, even though like John was as involved in the killing as she was, she's the one we remember.
Well, John also repented and she didn't. So and also too, it's unusual for a woman to
that's I think a big part of it. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to number 2 here. Okay. We've got it, and then I'm going to tell you right now, I could not find this photo.
Okay.
So I would have sent it to you if I could have found it.
Okay.
In 2012. So that was a while ago. Like this might not have been on our cell phone.
This is 14 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Just 14? That seems like a long time ago. Okay. Still, though, long time.
Yeah.
A woman named Christiane took a ghost tour of the old city jail with her husband. Like many people on these tours, she spent the evening taking photos, hoping to capture something unusual. When the group reached the second floor, where they were believed to have been held waiting execution, she took some photos without the flash. At the time, the images appeared completely black.
Okay.
Later on, when she was looking at her photos at home, it must have been, if nothing else, a digital camera, if not her phone.
Yeah.
She noticed something strange. In the supposedly black images, 2 shapes began to appear. She just adjusted the brightness. According to her, 2 distinct faces like came out from the darkness.
Okay.
One appeared right behind, slightly behind the other,
Mhm.
and they had different features. She wondered if the images could be John and Lavinia Fisher captured standing together in the very place where they once awaited their deaths.
Huh. So most of these paranormal tours, in fact, I've never taken one where the lights were fully on, except for the one that we did at the prison in Indiana that we did with Neil and Graveside Paranormal. The lights were on in like the main area. Well, not the main, in like the area that you would use to walk from area to area.
Also, that house we went to outside of Galena. Remember, we went to like a mansion and we were like, I remember us standing
Oh, yeah.
in a, anyway, the lights were on for that one.
Yeah. Most of the time when you're doing like a paranormal investigation, though,
They turned down the lights.
yeah, the lights are off. So anytime someone takes a picture that does have a flash, it's automatically, this is suspect. Automatically, red flag because of the flash. So she turned the flash off for this. So that's a good thing that she did. But also, too, I wonder if everyone around her turned their flashes off. So one flash from the other side of the cell could create just enough of this kind of weird effect, too, that it could bring something that, again, we're just interpreting this image to have faces in it then after that. But it could be a flash. I don't know the conditions, like were people smoking there too? That can sometimes do it. Smoke I have a lot of pictures from when I was a smoker and they look really messed up because of smoke in the camera. So I'm going to say there's enough reason for me not to believe this to say I'm going to give it a 0. So
I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
I'll go for me in the middle. Like, it's just as much maybe true versus not. I mean, again, I'm not seeing the photo and, right. Like you said, it's good that she didn't have the flash on. So that gives it a bit more to it. But also there's just like a lot of other factors. And especially without seeing it, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is,
I'm kind of in the middle on that one.
Okay.
All right, we got
for you, a 5 is almost equivalent to my 0. It's like that means that you don't really believe it, but you go in the middle because of that. Whereas I go to 0, you go to like 5.
I give it as like, I mean, I don't want to like, it could be, but I don't know. I don't have enough to like say.
So maybe that would be like the equivalent of my 2 then, if I ever gave something a 2.
Yeah.
Which I have, and I've given something a 4 before too. So.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was the near death.
Oh,
near-death experiences, which I still have questions about. So maybe we should revisit that at some point.
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 3.
Yes.
Some paranormal investigators claim that Lavinia Fisher doesn't just show up. She will answer questions. So during an investigation inside the jail, ghost hunters used recording equipment and they were talking about her famous last words, right? Remember we said that she stood on the gallows and talked about sending a message to the devil, right? Or hell.
Yeah.
All right. So during the investigation, someone reportedly asked a question out loud. Who will you see in a moment? When they reviewed their audio later, investigators claimed that they heard a clear response. The devil. Do you like that? You like how I said that?
Not really, but keep going.
The voice seemed to echo the same defiant message Lavinia allegedly delivered before her execution.
Okay, well, for these kind of things, I am always very skeptical because these devices use one of 2 methods. The first method, the more primitive, so if this is older, then it would be a radio wave, which devil is not a word said often, but it is said, it does come up. Like you're not shocked when you hear devil, so it's something that does happen, and happens a lot. So radio waves could pick that up, and then they garble those, and it's like the devil, it's like, yeah. And
watching you do that was really funny.
The second way would be, in the more modern way, is that there's an app on people's phones that they use to do this that has a bank of words that it sifts through and it says these things. That's how my understanding of this equipment works. Both of them need some kind of outside source to get these things to do it. It doesn't actually, nobody's actually saying anything.
Well, supposedly the ghosts are pulling out those words.
Yeah, but I don't believe that
I know you don't.
for any like it makes no sense to me that they can go into a phone. She died in 1819. It's not like she knew how to use a cell phone.
No,
back then.
but they're pulling on the energy.
Yeah, I don't buy this. I'm sorry. So, and what I'm going to say is it's the whatever method that they're using that said that, and it doesn't even mean that it said the devil, right? It means that it said something that they took out of it to mean the devil. So, I don't know. I would like to hear it, but every time I've ever heard one of these things, it doesn't come out just like the devil. It's like the
Well, one time
yeah.
it was very clear, but that's a different situation.
Yeah, it's a douche. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so
anyways.
0 for this one.
Yeah. Again, I'll give it a 6. Like I'm a
Okay.
little bit more with this one, but it's still a little shaky, especially because I couldn't find the recording to listen to.
Okay.
Okay. Last one.
Yes.
We got 4 today. Jewelry and small objects have reportedly gone missing during tours. And then sometimes they reappear later. So tour guides will suggest that Lavinia Fisher might still have a taste for valuable things, even in the afterlife.
Oh, geez. Okay. So this one, right? It's like, first of all, there could actually be someone stealing, which makes more sense than a ghost stealing, right? Actual person stealing. But it could also be, too, that people are, like, I will oftentimes, especially on these things, I wear a jacket. I'll wear like a hoodie underneath the jacket. I'll have jeans on. So I'm talking that I have...
It's usually cold, especially in a jail.
I'm talking that without even wearing anything special, I have over 10 pockets. So because it's cold, too, I might put a vest on underneath my hoodie, which has another 4 pockets. So we're talking 14 pockets that I have on any given moment. And I am often that person that has to search for where I put things, unless it's my regular stuff that I carry every single day that I have my specific pockets for. So I'm just going to say that they might have mistakenly put it in a different pocket or something like that, and then found it later. And we're like, oh, yeah, see, it's here. Oh, I swear I checked that pocket. I swear I check all my pockets all the time, and there can't be ghosts around me at all times to move these objects. 0, Rebecca.
I'm going to give this one a 6. I think it's kind of interesting.
This one's almost offensive to me. I don't know why. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I don't know why, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah. I will say, just in case anyone's interested in visiting the old city jail, I believe there's still tours, but now it's only the first floor and the basement, maybe something like that. The upper floors are offices. Like, it's not obviously used as a jail anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. But.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. So are we going to take a break?
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to get to the aftermath, which is our summary of the story, kind of. We're going to do our closing arguments, our overall rating. We're going to tell you about the next episode. We're going to thank our VIP producers and everything.
And, of course, read more listener mail.
We're going to tell you how you can contact us. A bunch of things. The reason why you should stick around. But if you choose not to, then I wish you well, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. So,
but otherwise, stay.
Yeah, stick around.
All right.
All right, Rebecca, we are back for the aftermath. So what would be your overall rating for this particular episode?
I got to go with 7.
7.
Because I gave an 8 to 5, a couple 6s.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go solid 7 because while some of the specific things, are a little bit shaky, yes. I think overall it seems that Lavinia as a spirit seems to be there. I didn't bring up John because that's also something, but I didn't find as much evidence about him. So anyways, we'll just go with Lavinia, and I do think she's hanging around the jail.
Okay.
Especially if she thought, well, no, I'll go into my evidence or my argument later. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
So I gave 1-1, so I have to go 1 on this then. I don't want to. It makes it seem like there was a lot more evidence to be, presented, but I don't buy any of the other one. The only reason why I did is because I liked the fact that it was seen right afterwards. That is something that, that makes me interested in that particular thing. Whereas if it was all just nowadays or even 1990s or something like that, which oddly enough, 35 years ago. Yeah. So, but if it was something like that, then I would tend to think less. So I'm going to give it a 1. And that brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time.
Mm-hmm.
We will time each other on the Ghostly Studio timer to keep everyone honest, Rebecca.
Pat.
And it is me that hits the button for it. So, whatever that means.
He's a cheater is what we're saying.
Well, but you all get to hear the beep, beep, beep beforehand.
Yes.
So, Rebecca, are you ready?
I am.
All right. And here we go.
Okay. All right. So I think Lavinia is still hanging around. And I think the biggest reason for this is because, as we learned, she never repented. For her, she felt she was innocent and she fought to the end to stay alive and really never admitted her guilt. And especially if we find out that, one, maybe she never murdered anybody. She robbed people, but she's like, I don't deserve to be murdered. Or maybe she did murder people, but whatever. She was like, that's not what I got convicted for. Or just, thought she was innocent. Anyways, no matter what, it seems like she definitely has unfinished business, definitely seems to want to be around. And again, from the beginning, people have seen her spirit. Now, some of the pictures and the EVPs, maybe we don't know for sure what's been caught. But it sounds like for 200 years, this lady has been stuck. And that's where I'm at.
All right. Well, you almost made it to the timer there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and go next, if you don't mind.
No. Yep. It's your turn.
All right. All right. So I don't have much to say after this one. There wasn't much evidence that was very compelling. I do like that one bit of evidence, but still it wasn't very compelling in that, there could be a reason why prisoners would say that she existed. I don't know, I had a different take that she kind of admitted that she did it by saying that she's going to send the messages to hell. So to me, that was more of, I'm admitting I did it in maybe a nonchalant kind of way. But I don't think that there's any proof that anything is haunted, especially that the building is no longer there, too. So that is all I got.
All right.
I had 17 seconds
You
left.
did. There you go.
All right. So do you have a ghost story that you're dying to share? Now you can. Ghostly has an official phone line, which is starting to be active. We're starting to get some kind of buzz going on there. I would love to hear a story on it, though.
That'd be so great.
Yeah. It's typical voicemail, so you might have to leave a couple of voicemails, but I'll piece it together if I have to.
Absolutely.
To get a full story.
If you're just that
out.
person where you're like, I don't want to type this thing out. I just want to say it.
Yeah. And you could be heard on a podcast.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
But you can call or text us with your spooky encounter. And if you leave a voicemail, you might actually hear it on Ghostly. We're not just going to talk about it. You might hear yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can also just say hi or make your voice heard in our latest polls. Here's how to vote.
Text the episode title and yes if you're a believer, no if you're a skeptic, then give it a haunting score from 1 to 10. Your opinion matters. Let us know what you think. So this is leaving a voice sending a text to vote is one way to vote.
Yeah. But I just want to say, too, is that if you just randomly text yes or no to that number, that will be credited to the latest episode.
Yes.
So whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and you could just type yes or no. Just text that to 312-869-9929, which is
312-869-9929.
Did you just say 312-869-9929?
I said 312-869-9929.
Okay.
Yes. You can also visit ghostlypodcast.com/polls.
Yeah, or
and
you
vote.
can go to Ghostly Podcast and click on polls because most people don't want to type out all that.
Exactly.
you know?
So you just heard our arguments. Let us know what you think.
So there are 2 ways to get a shout out on Ghostly. The first way is to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. We always prefer those 5-star reviews, but we will read any and all reviews that we receive. The second way is to become a member on Patreon. Just go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar. We have a lot of different tiers to choose from, and we're happy to have any one of those chosen. So although you get the most value if you choose the higher tiers, then
Absolutely.
I would say.
But yeah, again, it helps us keep Ghostly going.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we try to give you those ad-free episodes and get them up a little bit early, and I don't know, again, just know that you're helping us make these episodes.
Yeah,
So we
I'm also
appreciate
going to add another tier to our Patreon that was there before. If you want to sponsor an episode, we will make a tier for that. You can give us a message to read on here. As long as it's not vulgar, we will read it. And it'll be like about $50, and you could be a sponsor of Ghostly.
There you go.
So do you have any listener mail, Rebecca?
I do. We are about to finish up the letter from Nicole.
Okay, well, let me just say that if you have anything that you do not want to call up or text it out to us or anything like that, you can email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com, or we have a contact form on ghostlypodcast.com that goes directly to us. And one of our favorite ways is to get a ghost story in the actual mail, which is what Nicole did. And what's the P.O. box?
P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois 60134.
Yeah.
Is there a place they could just find all of this information?
Yeah. It's in the footer of ghostlypodcast.com. So just go to Ghostly Podcast. You could even search Google for Ghostly Podcast. Click on it, then scroll all the way to the bottom, and we're right there.
Absolutely.
It's got all that information.
All right. So let's hear the last story here from Nicole.
Okay.
So we had heard a lot about this house that they were at, right? There was figures and all sorts of things. So now we're moving to a different house, she says, located across from a Civil War battlefield. It's the Chickamauga battlefield, bloodiest battle of the Civil War. Maybe an idea for a future episode.
Oh, okay.
So we'll definitely add that to our list. Anyways, there were lots of unexplained sounds in that house. Not too long after my husband's grandmother passed away, I would get random smells of cigarettes. I never got that smell before, and his grandmother was a very heavy smoker. I knew it had to be her. One time when my parents had come down to visit us, my mom and I were sitting at the kitchen table playing cards or something. The kitchen was in the middle of the house, and you had to walk through it to get to the bathroom, laundry room, and back bedrooms. Anyways, my mom and I saw my son walk through and into the living room. We continued to play cards or talk or whatever we were doing. Then a few minutes later, my son comes from the back of the house and starts talking to us. My mom and I freaked out like we saw a ghost. We asked, "When did you go back to your room?" Because we didn't notice him walk back through the kitchen. He said he never left his room. We both got loud. That's just because we're Portuguese. Haha. And told him that we know we saw him through the kitchen and into the living room, walk through the kitchen into the living room. We asked my husband if my son was in there with him a few minutes ago, and he swore that my son never went in there. It was the freakiest thing.
Wow.
So that's, whew.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
Super freaky.
Yeah.
And you know what? She also gives us a whole bunch of episode ideas.
Oh, good. We need those.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like 10 of them or something. So very excited. We'll definitely start getting to some of those as we move along here.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for sending that in. We really appreciate it. And since we're not going to do the polls this episode, we'll just get to the...
No, we have polls.
Oh, no. Why?
We had an episode 2 weeks ago on the Pitak Mansion.
I was used to us doing it every 10 episodes.
No, I know, right? I know, we got to get back to it here. So we were in Portland, Oregon last time at the Pitak Mansion, which I find it hard to say. I feel like that's probably too precise sounding. Pitak.
It sounds like somebody using chewing tobacco or something. Pitak. Anyways.
All right. Anyways, so we have yes 47.3 And no 52.7.
Oh, I talked to my friend that lives in Oregon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I asked if she'd ever been to the Pittock Mansion, and she said no. So,
okay.
Thank you, Melanie, for that info. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well,
the overall rating, though, for that, as far as how haunted they believe it can be, is 3.2, which is pretty high for a no. So that definitely shows that it was a close race. And some of these are like, that sounds like it was one vote.
One or two votes.
Changed it.
Yep.
So remember that. Your vote does matter,
it totally
especially
does
on
matter.
Ghostly.
Yes.
So don't let your friends miss out on the chills. Share Ghostly with them and help us grow this community of paranormal enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us. A shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible.
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
and Aaron.
Is it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict at ghostlypodcast.com poll section and let the debate continue. Subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown.
On the next episode of Ghostly, we'll be talking about the Egyptian Theater in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, wow.
And it comes out on March 25th.
I know we have an Egyptian theater around. Is it in
I feel like it's
Sycamore or DeKalb or something like that?
Or
around here?
Somewhere more north.
Whatever.
I don't remember.
But we do have one here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always like a good Egyptian theater, But until March 25th, I want you all to stay ghostly.
Bye.